Good evening and welcome to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board meeting for Monday, February the 11th, 2019. We're going to call the meeting to order, and we're going to start by introducing ourselves. We have a new member to our Parks and Rec Advisory Board. I'm Kathy Leanhouse. I'm the Parks, Recreation, and Senior Services Director.
I'm Jim Leanhouse.
Norm Valenti.
Michael Fenton.
Valerie Valenti.
Lauren Cook.
So this is the board now. So welcome, Lauren.
Thank
we
you.
appreciate you taking your time to be on the board with us.
Thank you for having me.
First order of business is the approval of the January minutes, which you were all emailed. Did anybody have any questions, concerns, or corrections that needed to go on those?
I motion to approve the minutes as posted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Moving right along, the staff reports, you also got the monthly recreation reports and the senior citizen monthly reports. Did you have any questions about the activities or numbers? And Lauren, you can jump in if you have questions since you haven't really been here before.
Okay.
So, you'll find that a lot of the activities are the same every month with a few different things, but in general, we kind of have the same programs and just numbers change.
Okay.
Okay. Old business, I wanted to update you on the foul ball netting. Just to recap, up at the city park, we have a softball field and a hardball field that are very closely in proximity to each other, and we've had more and more use of those fields at the same time, and we're having foul balls that are flying from the hardball field over to the softball field. And so we spoke with the athletic boosters and the men's league and the schools and the youth program and really felt that, you know, we're not going to be able to prevent all foul balls, but adding this extra foul ball netting, you know, would be a good step in the direction of keeping less balls from the chance of hitting people. So we got pricing on that. We are applying for some grants as well, but in order to get it on the docket for this spring, we did go before the council at their last meeting and they did approve it. So I have requested the 50% down payment. I should get that check this week, get it out to the company, and then we'll get on the schedule for when they can come out and install. And in the meantime, Youth Baseball has applied for a grant through Dick's Sporting Goods. I've applied for a grant through the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority. That's MMRMA are the initials. But we won't hear if we get those grants like till mid-March to the end of March. So we didn't want to sit around and wait because either way we need to take care of this.
Right.
Obviously it'll be a bonus if we get some additional monies in. It'll free up our money to do other things as well. So any questions on the foul ball netting?
Did you contact the guy already to get it in the schedule?
Well, yeah, but they won't put it on the schedule till
Till he
we
gets
get
his
them some
money.
money, so.
But he knows it's on the way?
He knows.
Surprise. Check that in it.
Checks in the mail?
I emailed him the next morning and said, okay, we got approval. I've requested the check. You should have it by next week, so.
Great.
Moving along, Skatepark Committee response. We haven't really done much more on this. We did discuss that the foundation that was handling the money for that as well as the money for our SHARP program, which is Senior Home Assistance Repair Program, was dissolving. And so we had to find a legitimate place for the money to go because it was all raised under a 501c3. So it has to be used for what it was originally solicited for and what people thought they were giving to. I'll get a little more into that under new business, but as far as I know, the committee has been or has tried to be contacted by the foundation. I don't know what the result of that is. My understanding of the original contracts that were signed with that foundation are if there's no activity on the account and they can't get a hold of anybody, then the money reverts to that foundation. The foundation is aware that it's the Clawson skate park that the monies were raised for, so there is a probable chance that their board will decide to give the money to the Clawson Community Foundation under this Clawson Skatepark Committee kind of headline. So, but I have not heard what the result of any of that is. So we'll see what comes of that. That's something that we really have nothing to do with and no control over. It's kind of an IRS matter, how it can be handled at this point,
And
so.
this is something we're going to discuss when we get into new business?
We'll talk about our SHARP program. We can talk about that.
Was there a letter or something that was going to be sent, or have the,
Well, we did that, and there was no response.
was there something we were going to do with the city council?
No, because after that, when we found out that this foundation was dissolving, there's not really anything that we can do other than we've let them know that that money was raised for the Clawson Skate Park, and we strongly feel that that money should stay in Clawson.
So does it go into slush fund that anybody can access?
No.
So it's specifically
If
designated
it's
for
kept,
the skate park?
if it's kept by the North Woodward Community Foundation, they are rolling into the Troy Community Foundation. If they choose to keep it, which is in line with what the agreement that was originally signed, then it would roll into their slush fund, I
Into
guess.
Troy's?
Into Troy's. But the Clawson Community Foundation has made it a statement to them saying, you know, really under IRS guidelines, that money needs to be used for what it was originally collected for. So it would be in the best interest for them to transfer it to the Clawson Community Foundation, and they would keep it under the skate park heading, and it could only be used for skate park, for the
Would that be
Clawson
for-
skate park.
Not for the expansion, but for the
Correct.
upkeep?
For anything
Yep.
that has to do with the Clawson
Which
skate
is what
park.
we want it for anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's not anything that we
control over.
have to do. That's something that has to be handled because of it being an IRS 501c3 type fund. It has to go to another fund that's kind of equal. It can't just be given away. You know, it has to try to be used for something that's as closely related to what it originally was collected for. So, but until I hear anything about that, that's where we stand.
Okay.
I talked with, moving along to the park attendant parking, I did talk with Chief Scott Cervello, and he is continuing to look into that, and it didn't sound like it was going to be a problem to have a parking spot at the park for the park attendants. So when they have to leave to go to other parks, they should have a spot that's signed for them. And if somebody parks in it, then at least the police have some authority to say, hey, you can't park here, this is for the park attendant. We have put the park attendant position on the website, on the city website. We are looking for one other park attendant for this summer. The job starts usually around the beginning of April and runs through the beginning of November. It's an 8-hour shift. We usually have 3 park attendants, but we do work 7 days a week. Obviously, if it's a rain out or something like that, they can call off and go home. You know, we don't make them sit there in the rain all day. So anybody that's interested, please apply. You can get an application either down at the Hunter Community Center here at City Hall, and more information about that job is listed on the Clawson website. So you can take a look at that. Any questions on the park attendant?
No.
Okay. The Memorandum of Understanding. We currently work with the Mavericks, Clawson Youth Soccer, and Clawson Youth Baseball, Softball. And those organizations run their programs. They put on the recreation programs for baseball, softball, soccer, and football, you know, youth football for the city of Clawson. And, you know, we've always worked very cooperatively together. They do not pay to use our fields. We keep the fields groomed for them. But we've never had any kind of an agreement with them in writing. And because each of these groups is run by volunteers, they're 501c3s in their own right, but they have boards and volunteers that can change all the time. So really, for all of our best interests, we're trying to put into writing exactly what our relationship is. So in exchange for letting them use our fields, they take on the burden of handling registration, organization, background checking their coaches, and running their leagues. And so basically, we're just trying to put that into a document. I don't know if it'll end up being called a Memorandum of Understanding. That's one of the terms we can use, or just some sort of a mutual agreement. It's not a contract or anything like that, but it just sort of outlines what these organizations need from us as a city to be able to run their programs effectively and efficiently, and what we need as a city from their organizations for running their programs, making sure that, they're a 501c, they're 501c3, they're background checking their coaches, they have liability insurance, they're running above board with all their finances and everything like that. So I did give you a document. These were the two lists that I got from youth softball, baseball, and also from youth soccer as to what they kind of see as their needs from the city. I am still waiting to get something from Mavericks, kind of listing their needs from us to be able to run their program successfully. So this is just for you to kind of look over and see if you have any questions about some of the things they're asking for. If you think some of these things really aren't appropriate, you can let me know. And then I am going to come up with a list of what we need from them, which will be mostly like liability insurance, proof of their 501c3, proof of background checking their coaches, that sort of thing. They need to get me their schedules as soon as possible, and they also need to be cooperating with us if we're trying to make repairs to the fields and things that they use, that they're going to be willing to help financially in those endeavors as well.
So if they wanted to get use the fields over at Shawm?
That has to come off. We have no control of Shawm.
Okay, that's why I brought
But
it
in
up.
our lease agreement with the schools, we do have in there that the schools will allow our youth sports teams to use their fields.
But like the baseball diamond, the small baseball diamond.
Right, that's all documented in a lease agreement we have with the school district.
So that needs to be a part of this understanding?
Yeah, we'll probably have to make a note that's referencing where that agreement is made. It won't be specifically in this agreement, but we'll reference the lease agreement with the schools that covers the use of those fields. And the city is allowed to groom those fields for the city youth sports programs as well. So, and that's all in the lease agreement with the schools.
The grounds at Shawm, I noticed that the city does all the cutting of the grass and
They-
clearing the driveways. Do they do the baseball diamond there as well?
The city does not do that.
So they bring somebody in?
They
to
have
do
their
that.
own crew that does
Okay.
that.
So that's not part of the upkeep of the field that,
The only thing we do, and it's spelled out in the lease agreement, is that we drag and line the field. We don't mow the outfield of the school-owned properties, but we do prepare the infields
okay.
for games.
Do we ever do anything with the bases, those breakaway bases?
Yeah, we had them on the north field last year, and youth baseball said they liked them.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can take a look at that. Once we get the agreement together, you'll see the final draft, and then it will probably go before council for approval. Okay.
We have an acting.
Any other questions on that? No. No? Okay. Moving on to new business. We touched a little bit on our SHARP program. That's a senior home assistance repair program. That's where we have a core group of volunteers that do minor home repairs for senior citizens and those with disabilities who own their home in the city of Clawson. They can call and put in a request, and then the volunteers, we have a whole kind of a database thing where they can look and see what jobs are out there, and if any of the volunteers want to take it on, they can take it on and do the job. A lot of the stuff we do is, gutter cleaning on a one-story home, replacing light bulbs, replacing fixtures, switches.
Minor stuff.
Minor stuff, home repair, patching drywall.
Changing batteries and
Yeah,
smoke
smoke
alarms?
detectors, leaky faucets, putting in grab bars in a shower, or some people don't have railings on their stairs, like going down the basement and stuff, and they need them now. We do that. And since 2008, that program's been going on, and our money we don't charge really. We ask the people to buy the supplies. All the labor is done by the volunteers. If a homeowner has a financial hardship, there are some funds available that we can access if it's a necessity that needs to be taken care of. Those monies were all handled through this North Woodward Community Foundation as well. But we have met with the Clawson Community Foundation, and we have signed an agreement with them to transfer all the funds to the Clawson Community Foundation now. So the SHARP program will continue as it has been, just with a different foundation kind of handling the finance part of it. So when people make donations now, they'll go to the Clawson Community Foundation SHARP program. And then those are the funds that we have available to help people with projects if monies are tight for them. So we feel confident that the Clawson Community Foundation will be able to do a good job in keeping things straight for us. And they're a 501c3, so if people make donations,
That's nice.
they can use it. And so we've signed the paperwork. We're having to have new brochures and stuff printed up with the new name on it and the new address and things like that. But that seems to have worked out pretty well for us. So, and if anybody out there wants to be a volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers for the SHARP program. So, again, you can go on the website or call down to Hunter Community Center, the Recreation Department. We can give you information on that. Any other questions on that?
No.
Okay, the next item is the Smart Bus. Our Senior Citizen Center has a transportation program that we provide senior citizens and those with disabilities living within the city of Clawson transportation services. We ask for $4 round trip. We go as far north as South Boulevard, as far south as 9 Mile. We go Telegraph to the west, and we go to Van Dyke to the east. So doctor appointments, physical therapy, chemo treatments, grocery shopping, beauty shop, banks, pharmacy pickups, things like that. People can call and schedule appointments. We've always worked with, in the last few years anyways, we've had 2 buses and a lease vehicle that we use for transporting. Last year, one of our buses, the engine died on it. And we were given the opportunity through SMART to not fix it because it would have cost us $5,000 to fix the engine. And the rest of the body of the vehicle was not very good either, so we just didn't feel it was a good use of funds. So they gave us the option of getting a long-term loaner until the bus with the broken engine had aged enough that we could get a replacement. Now, all of these buses come actually through kind of like the federal government. They send money down to the local, and we can only get bus replacements after the bus has got 150,000 miles on it, or it's been in service, I believe, 5 years.
How long has it been in service?
This one where the engine blew, we'll be able to be able to apply to replace it fall of 2019. But it takes over a year and a half usually because this is federal money. So you have to apply, you have to be approved, and then the government has to decide to release the money. And once the money's released, then the bus has to be built. So it's kind of a long process.
Okay.
This is MDOT? Is this
No.
through MDOT at all?
No, not really. It's through, MDOT would be like us, like under the umbrella money that comes down from the federal government. Some goes to MDOT, some comes to the SMART program. And then, so we're kind of like on a par with MDOT, sort of.
Yeah. So like Molina, people that are on Medicaid can go and get an MDOT bus to pick them up, to take them to doctor's appointments and that through the insurance company.
Well,
Something that we have designated or dedicated to Clawson for our immediate community through City of Clawson?
right, it's through the SMART program, though, okay? And they they can use the smart connector, and I think that's like maybe 50 cents each way if they're on Medicaid. But, so this is just an additional, our program is just for Clawson residents, where the smart connector is for anybody in southeastern, like in Oakland County.
Is it
Any of the
primarily for seniors and handicap and that? Or
Yeah, the smart connector, I think, works with all ages of people.
No, I meant our.
Ours, yes, ours is for senior citizens and those with disabilities.
Gotcha.
Yeah. At any rate, it's taken way longer than they told us it would take for us to get this long-term loaner. But I did get word last week that they finally had a bus turned in that was in good condition, and they're getting it repainted, and we should finally get that bus back. So we're very excited about that, because we've been using one bus, our lease vehicle, and then a really, really, really old police car. It runs beautifully, but it's just kind of crummy looking. But we're very thankful to have those vehicles, because we have so many people that need to go places that don't drive anymore, so.
So just a quick question, does having two buses provide us the means to fulfill all the things that we're going to be required to do, or do we need another bus?
No, I think for our size community, having that, the problem with the problem or the best thing about the second bus, the two buses have lifts. So if you're in a wheelchair or, you have a physical limitation, we can at least take you easily with the lift bus. We can get you in and out. We can strap your wheelchair down. It's harder for people to get in and out of cars when you have walkers and things like that. And especially we take people grocery shopping. We stop at the Manor, the high rise in Clawson, and we take people grocery shopping every week. So sometimes we have 10 people on the bus, plus all their carts and things. So we also have people that have to go for dialysis like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and they're in wheelchairs. So it's just better to have two vehicles with lifts, because otherwise, if the timing isn't right, you have to turn somebody down. And so we're very happy to have another bus coming back for our use.
And the drivers are volunteers?
No, the drivers are paid. They're part of the senior citizen part-time employees.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if they go on these trips that they go on and that is another company that comes and picks them up?
If we do-
They're going to a casino, or they're going?
The casino trips we do with our vehicle, the local casinos just down to Detroit once a month. Lunch bunch, once a month, we take a group of seniors out to lunch to different restaurants, usually just in Oakland, Macomb, or Wayne County. That's our bus. But if we do any kind of a long-distance thing out of Wayne, Oakland, or Macomb County, we usually go with Bianco Tours, or we go with Oakland County, also provides some trips for seniors, and they provide the buses. So we don't do any kind of major traveling. The bus only holds 14 people. So, we go down to the DIA, or we used to go down to Tiger games, and we would use our bus.
Other than the people, if there's any
No, there's a cost.
entry cost and all that to cover?
Yeah. If we're doing our regular transportation now is $4 round trip. There is no charge for anybody in Clawson to come to the senior center to participate in any of our activities there, or to come for lunch. It's just if they're going out to doctor appointments and things. All the local communities that partner with SMART, like Royal Oak, Madison Heights, Birmingham, Berkeley, Ferndale, Oak Park, they all have these buses as well and run these programs as well. And the ones around us all charge $4 round trip for the transportation.
That's not bad.
It's not really, when you think about it. An Uber probably costs you more.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uber.
Yeah.
So we're excited anyways about possibly getting this smart bus. So we will let you know as soon as we get it.
Okay.
Any other questions on the SMART program?
No.
Okay. I gave you a copy of the resolution that we're coming up with for the community groups that get to use facilities here in Clawson at no charge. As you can see, we have many groups. I think it's on the back of yours. I did a front to back. There's many groups that have like monthly meetings. ARP tax program we run down at the senior center every tax season. They do tax preparation for free for people who are seniors, low income, simple returns. And so we provide a space for them to do that at no charge. So what we needed to do is kind of justify why these groups get rooms for free and the regular person who just comes off the street and wants a room, a meeting room, doesn't get the room for free. And that's basically because these groups all provide a service to the city of Clawson. So in exchange for the services they provide for our city, we allow them to have meetings in our buildings at no charge. So again, it's just something that we've done, but it was never actually written down. So this is something that we're doing as well, and it will be a resolution that most likely will go before council and be approved. And then it's just something that we have in the books to explain why we do things the way we do things.
We also, if you needed to have a room for a party or something, they could.
Yeah,
All
we have
for-
rental rates if you want to rent the community room here at City Hall or rooms down at Hunter for birthday parties or bridal showers, or we even have some private groups come in that hold like a meeting. Maybe they're talking about life insurance or, how to plan for college or whatever. If those are private individuals or private companies, they pay a fee to rent a room from us.
So as a matter of housekeeping, is it better that we have, because I noticed the baseball and the soccer do use rooms. Should they be on this list, or
They're going to be addressed in that memorandum of
Okay.
agreement. Yeah. So we pulled them off of this group because they're going to have their own separate
Okay.
agreement with us. Any other questions on that? Okay. Review of upcoming events. We had our daddy-daughter dance, and we only did one dance this year, but we sold 100 tickets. And everything, the weather cooperated, and it was a good day, and I think it went fairly well. We have our Mother-Son event coming up on March 23rd. It's a jungle theme, and we have a man coming in who does a lot of programs with wild animals, so he'll bring some live animals in, so it should be fun. We are going to cooperate with Clawson Youth Assistance again this year to do the Easter egg hunt up at the city park. And then we will also host the Bunny Brunch at Hunter again this year. We will be having an actual sort of program that will be going on right after the food. It's I don't want to call it a skit, but it's a professional that does like this little help me find the Easter egg thing with puppets. So that should be fun, something different to try. So those are the things that are coming up. The Citywide Highlights newsletter, the spring edition, will be going out probably by the end of next week. That should be mailed out. Yeah, come on, spring.
Did we say anything about not doing the summer?
That's going to be in this, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we had talked about, we were going to take a year off of doing the summer beautification, and because it just seems to be that nobody's really calling in houses, it's us going around and finding houses. And we want to ask the community for their input, if they have some better ideas of what we might be able to do instead of what we've done over the past year after year after year. So we are going to put a little article in that Highlights newsletter asking the community to give us their ideas and suggestions. And, if we get people that say, no, we want you to do it, then we can certainly do it again. But we're going to try one year and just see what
See
kind
if
of a
anybody
response we
notices.
get. Right, right, see if anybody notices.
Still, nobody lurking outside their house,
Yeah.
trying to find out your number.
If all of a sudden the yards start looking crummy again, then we know we need to start. I don't think that will happen. That's pretty much what I have. Do you guys have anything that you need to discuss? Lauren, do you have any questions or?
Would this be an appropriate time to bring up any ideas or suggestions
Sure.
that I have thought of
Sure.
in relation to the parks? Obviously, I'm new, so I don't know, how the budget and all of that works just yet, and maybe what all you've discussed in the past. I did know that you had talked about expanding the parking lot at Hunter, but I didn't know if you had talked about upgrading the sign. I saw it was missing a couple of letters last
Oh,
time.
on the building?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, I've asked for that to be fixed, but
Okay.
we're kind of in transition with a lot of our department heads right now, so I will readdress that again
Just to make it look a little bit nicer, I saw that, it was kind of
Yes.
falling apart. And I also, living near Hunter, I see often, we have those roll-away trash cans, but I didn't know if it would be possible or how much it would cost to maybe do some kind of fixed trash cans. And the reason I say that is after storms or heavy winds, it seems like they
all
fall
fall
over
over.
and there's trash rolling around. And so I didn't know if, that was something that we could think about.
I think the problem with anything fixed is how do they empty it?
Right.
Yeah, we do try to pop those up when they fall over when we're there, but I can look in to see if there's something different that might work there. The wheels are necessary because, when there's soccer games going there, we like to wheel them back to where the people are at the games, but then they have to be rolled to the parking lot to be emptied when the garbage truck comes, so.
I wonder if there's some kind of a railing they might be able to put around them, and then a strap or something that they can unhook to roll them out, to empty them, put them back, and then just hook them up. That might help to keep them from falling over.
I think that's possible. I mean, you have the same problem at the city park, at all our parks. That's just, even when you put your garbage out, we have the same problem at the curbs.
I guess there's designated people who pick up the trash around the park.
Yeah, well, we have the park attendants there, yeah.
Right.
And if we try at Hunter, if we see garbage spilled, we try to pick it up as well. But it's something I can look into and see if there's really any other
Kind
better,
of a way to.
a better
just to, even if
project
you needed
out
4
there.
posts around them and just a.
The problem with that too, then, okay, where do you put it? And
Yeah.
then
But
it's
if
a
it
mowing issue, when you have to mow.
Yeah.
Move it, they can move it.
Yeah, that's
They'd
true.
rather run their mower into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's another mowing obstacle, so. But that doesn't mean we can't do it.
It was just a thought that I
Yeah.
had in the past.
No, it's a good one too.
The last thing I was thinking about, I don't know if this has been discussed before, and I haven't been to the city park recently with the weather, so I don't know if this is something that I've missed, but I've just noticed more and more people in the neighborhood with dogs, and I didn't know if, I guess you had dog signage on your last meeting, so I don't know what was discussed, but I don't know what it would cost to put maybe like little cleanup stations. I just noticed that some people aren't picking up after
We
their
do have
dogs.
cleanup stations at the city park.
At the city park?
I don't
Okay.
think we have one at Hunter, which we
Okay.
certainly could put in.
Okay.
Because we do
one at
have,
Grant even? Do we have
No, there's not one
a,
at Grant, no.
No?
This is just a post with a-
We chuckle for a reason.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge issue.
Yes.
And we can't seem to,
There's a city ordinance about it, but it's never enforced to the point where you could actually do something that somebody isn't following the city ordinance.
Yeah.
But it's a
Right.
good,
Yeah.
it's a good point that.
yeah, we
need
do
those-
have them at the city park. I'll look into getting them at all our parks.
and we had to do signs.
Yeah, we
right?
did add signs because people were taking their dogs into the tot lot at the city park, closing the gates and letting their dogs run in there.
Oh.
And using the soccer field on Bywood as the same, letting their dogs off leash in there to run like it was a dog park. And the problem is that the dogs go to the bathroom and then people don't pick it up, and then you have kids playing soccer on that field.
Right,
so.
people are it's nice to have dogs, and it's nice that people are out walking and enjoying their dogs, but it is a shame when they don't pick it up. It's a hazard,
Yeah.
so.
And, we've gone over, everybody wants a dog park. We have no green space in Clawson that could be dedicated as a
Right.
dog park, so. And probably the people that cause us the most trouble probably wouldn't pay to use a dog park anyway,
Right.
so.
Right.
But we keep working on it, and the cleanup stations, I think even putting a few more at City Park might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
Because you could be halfway around the park and,
Realize you ran out of bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's a
Do
good
those have
suggestion.
Those don't have a sign on them, do they? They're just.
Yeah, they're
posts
like,
with a
they're
green-
on a post in green and then
They don't have like,
dog cleanup.
yeah, like,
I thought there was some.
I
verbiage
think there is verbiage on there, yeah.
Where you just pull off the plastic bags.
Yeah, but the
and-
bags are in rows in there. And
Right.
between DPW and the park attendants, we try to keep them full of garbage bags.
Yeah.
But good suggestions. Happy to check into that. And as far as the parking lot at Hunter, it does need to be expanded. It does need to be resurfaced, but I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. It's incredibly costly.
Yeah. I'd just like to see a little bit, just even the building itself, just maybe, like I said, even I think something as simple as a sign, just to make
Yeah,
it look a
no, I
little
agree
better
with you.
since it's
That's been
used
on my
year-round.
list for a
Okay.
while, that the N and the T are like broken.
Yeah.
And I would like to get more play equipment at Hunter too as well. We've had to take what old pieces were left there out because they got damaged. And so that will probably be our next. We had to replace a couple things at City Park, and those will be going in the beginning of May. And then we can look at possibly what we want to do with Hunter and what we can put there as well. So,
Perfect, thank you.
yeah. Anything else that anybody wants to talk about? We have to open it up for public discussion, but there is nobody here, so we'll close public discussion.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor, we adjourn. Thank you very much. I appreciate
you.
your suggestions. It's always great to have new perspective, too, Some of us have been around a long time, and you tend to not notice things, so it's good to have fresh eyes.
Okay, thank you.